herringbone pattern will look like this. 2 diagonal lines, not to be confused with a chevron where the diagonal lines meet. So it will look like this, not like this. Here's a better picture of flooring so you can see it. This is going to give you a more natural look and allows for the highlights to fall in a softer, more blended way. Also really great if someone parts their hair in the middle sometimes, or to the right sometimes, or to the left sometimes. It's universal, it works for any parting. And for gray blending, or for people who don't want to maintain hair color or highlights as often as a full standard foil. We're gonna section off from the apex down. We'll make a line that will land right behind the ear. And the apex is just the highest point of the head. So if you place a comb where the comb balances, you'll make a line here. Then from about the temple area, you want to make a huge mohawk section. Oh, oops, I don't know why I did those in different colors, sorry. The great thing about this pattern is it doesn't have to be exact or super perfect, and we're not bouncing off their part line. So if they part their hair in the middle, that's fine. If they part it to the right or the left, that's also fine. But what I'm trying to say is we're not moving the section to the side to wherever they part their hair. Because the subsectioning is staggered, we don't need to be super, super neat, or we don't have to be. Now in the back, you're just gonna take a triangle, so connect here, look like that there. For this, I'm using a powder lightener, 10 volume because we're working on virgin hair in a 1:2 ratio. And I made this one more like 1 to 2.5 because I'm using paper and I find it a little bit easier to work with if it's a little bit thinner versus thicker, but typically it's a 1:2 ratio. So that's 1 part lightener to 2 parts developer. The sides are gonna start off diagonal and they're gonna kind of go into a horizontal. Ignore all this is for perming, but it goes diagonal, diagonal, and it slightly changes till you get to horizontal here. This will help blend the highlight when we pull our hair back. We don't want horizontal lines here. The head is round, so we're using diagonal lines here, and eventually it can be horizontal here. For the lowest maintenance, you wanna make sure that you're leaving the hairline out. So this little section by the ear and around the ear, we don't wanna put into foil or paper. You can weave or slice these. I usually weave right around the hairline just so it blends the most when it grows out. If you slice the hair thin enough, it'll end up looking like a weave. So if you're looking for something really, really natural like I'm trying to do, you can take the rat tail pintail comb, take it out of 45 and slightly graze the top. It'll be super thin, but it'll be thin enough where you don't have to really slap on the color or lightener and it looks like a natural weave. Applying the lightener with a brush like this, then flip the brush vertical, kind of dry brush the top. Not a lot of product here. We want to create a staggered line. So something that looks more like this versus painting it on like this. We want to go in and create a feathered line because we're always keeping in mind how is this going to grow out over time. More so this pattern, it's designed for low maintenance, someone who's not going to come back often. So we want these to grow out as natural as possible, and that's avoiding any sort of very blunt lines. And then taking the brush, brushing it up. This will also help blend it. And remember not to extend past the foil or the paper because lightener will swell. It will expand past that and create a tiger stripe. And again, these started diagonal, and we'll do a little bit of a rainbow till they get to pretty much horizontal. Once your first side is complete, you're gonna bounce and do the same thing to the other side. Now we're gonna move on to this middle section here. You can start in front of your client or you can start in the back. For me, it's easier to start in the front. Our foils are going to look like this. Remember, they are not like this with a middle part. That's the basic chevron pattern. This is more staggered, more natural. Same concept, leaving the hairline out, diagonal subsection. You can do this several different ways. Some people will do one foil, then do another. One on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left. I usually do 2 on the right, 2 on the left, and they're staggered. It's a very, very minimal stagger, very little. But again, it's not like this. Otherwise, we would have just parted the hair down the middle and stayed in our own lane. But we want to stagger these so that way they can part their hair whatever way they want. So even if it's just the smallest little stagger line, it's still gonna make a big difference versus this, which is also still a really great pattern. It's just not what we're doing today. When you get to the back, there's not gonna be much hair left, so you're gonna combine this back piece with this back triangle. The two subsections that are in braids, we're not doing that. I'm just doing a partial today, but if you wanted to do the full highlight, you would continue that pattern in the back like that. So once you combine those sections, the pattern stays the same. I'm just standing behind the client now. It is a much smaller section. So at the beginning, you could probably fit the regular pattern, but towards the top, you may only have one to the left, one to the right, one to the left, one to the right. Does that make sense? So instead of one on each side, it's just alternating in the middle. You can also just pick a side. If you want to do diagonal forward or diagonal back, you could just do it this way or just do it this way instead of alternating. That's the complete process for the partial. I'm gonna lighten this till it gets to about a level 9, and I'm gonna tone it down to a level 8, just using Shades EQ. This actually got really bright super fast, but again, it's virgin hair, so it's going to lift a lot faster. After you take all the foils or paper out, you're gonna rinse it really well. Shampoo it really, really well. Shampoo it twice. Lightly condition the ends if you need to. Towel dry the hair, squeezing it out, and then apply the toner. I'm focusing really on the root area, really working it in. It will lather because the hair is damp, so it'll make kind of a shampoo consistency. So really, really get it in there. Processing time is anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes. I left this one on for 10 minutes because some of the highlights were so blonde, it was taking the toner really well and it was turning a little bit too violet. So once you're happy with what the toner looks like, you can fully rinse it out. You don't have to re-shampoo it if you don't want to. I typically don't. Semi-permanent color, like this one, fades every time you shampoo it. So to avoid it fading at the very start, I just rinse it really well with cool water. Here's what it looks like after it's done. It's a very natural color. You can see any way you part this, any way you pull it, we're not gonna have these huge horizontal lines. You can wear the hair up, you can wear the hair back, you can wear the hair down. It's a really natural pattern. Also, the toner in this example did dull it down a little bit. Probably should have used a 9, but it will fade after each shampoo. And just maintaining it with a purple base shampoo, violet base shampoo moving forward.